Alright, what's going on guys? Chili Games here, and I'm going to bring you a game with the Charles Martel. And like a lot of cruisers in this update, it received a buff. Most importantly, Martel now has heals. You can change it out for your spotter plane, and I think that this is 100% your best. Uh, I would say it's your best option here. Don't go for the plane. I would 100% go for the heals. So, my opinion on the ship, it's definitely better. I think when you're running fully packed, 3 heals can mean a lot in terms of longevity, and you can't do any DPM if you're dead. So I think the heals are kind of a much needed kind of buff for this thing, because it was beforehand when it came out with the original cruiser buff, when the other cruisers got heals. This thing was still really good. I mean, it didn't get heals because it was overperforming. And I thought it was a pretty good ship. It was fast. It fired fast. It had really good DPM, but you kind of sacrificed armor and survivability. So you had to play this thing pretty sneaky. Had a pretty difficult time trying to master it. That was all well and good until the Chapayev and the Kutuzov came out and pretty much broke the meta. Uh, Basically, if you're gonna have good firepower, a good way to balance it is to have light armor and be really squishy. And Chapayev, I mean, we all know it. It took the cake on armor and firepower, so it pretty much left Martel in a bad spot, because Martel was, arguably the best fire starter in the game when it came out, and Chapayev just kind of said no, pretty much ruined it. And since then, I only played Martel maybe twice, I think, since Chapayev came out. I mean, obviously there was just really no point. I mean, you can still do decent with it, but there was really no point. I mean, why would you play Martel when you could do the same thing and better and have better armor in Chapayev? So, enough comparing. This was a game I actually forgot that it received this heal buff, and I'm gonna be the biggest I guess advocate for heals on cruisers. I know a lot of people say that it doesn't really do much, and I got to tell you, I really disagree with that statement. Obviously, if you're losing, 8 to 12k a salvo from a BB all the time, it's not going to mean that much. But if you're a good cruiser player, and you know how to nickel and dime, and you know how to use concealment, and if you do get in an engagement, you can get out of it and minimize your damage. Heals can go a very, very long way in preserving yourself for the late game, because I mean that's what it's all about: being alive, being undetected like I am here, and being in a good spot to deal damage is honestly the best place you want to be in this thing, because since it does still have lightly armored, even if you angle, you'll still get citadeled pretty much anywhere from a battleship. So if you're undetected doing damage like this, then you are doing 100%. This is the best place you want to be. We ended up picking up the first blood there, almost 4 minutes into the game, and I'm not too worried about that Fletcher, honestly. I did forget how much honestly how much fun this thing is, and I'm definitely going to be playing it more. I played it a couple of times last night, and I had to have averaged probably 150k. I mean, this thing is definitely, I think it's definitely viable in the meta now, because after this next update, Chapayo is going to get a nerf, or toned down is what they said. I think it's going to probably get definitely the armor. I think it's going to be moved from 30mm bow to 27mm bow for the Chapayev, and maybe reload. I'm not sure, but it's just going to make Martel just that much more competitive here and there. So this was a game where honestly, I'm not sure what it is on these new maps, but it is so difficult to get your team to push objectives. And I guess, I mean, obviously, like people don't know the angles, people don't know, um, certain things. I almost dropped my controller there. Um, we're pretty much done with this flank here, and you realize that the right side of the map is being engulfed by pretty much everyone. We're still sitting pretty strong here. We don't have anybody that's really overextended, and our two battleships in the cap are protected from islands. So, I guess my biggest thing that I'm realizing here is that I'm spotted. So it's either the Fletcher behind me, or there is the other destroyer, the Akatsuki, is somewhere in my detection radius. And my biggest thing right now is to kind of go out wide here and try to get the enemy in a crossfire. And but you know, uh, it is definitely is different playing with a super squishy cruiser, because I've honestly been playing a good bit of Hipper and Baltimore. So always got to be very careful in how you play this thing. And we popped the speed boost, and the speed boost is nice. The one thing I will say about Martel though is I feel like the acceleration is terrible. I'm not sure what it is. I mean, it's a fast ship, sure, and you can get up to 40 knots with the speed boost, but it it takes a lot. It takes quite a while to get this thing up to speed here, and I waited for that hood to fire so that I could make my turn safely, because we definitely don't want to push anymore. There is a enemy Synop, and we have no idea where that other DD is. He could be anywhere. He could be torping me as we speak. This right here was kind of a cheek clinching moment. He could have easily citadeled me here. We get luckily we only take one pin there, and since he burned his damage, I tried to mismax control and con there. Anyways, damage control was down for him, and we stick him with 2 fires. So what sucks is we're still spotted though, so I have basically no eyes right now, and our destroyers to the left there. So right now I'm spotted. Obviously I'm just trying to present the smallest possible profile, and I look over here, and as soon as I realize that the Synop is shooting at me, I am broadside to him. So I immediately try to slow down and turn my rudder towards him to mitigate hopefully everything that was coming my way. Luckily he probably doesn't have the range. Synop usually, if you're not running Galler with the extended range, you're really only going to reach about 16 kilometers with Synop. I wait for the hood to shoot. Thankfully, or good on him, he only fired 2 turrets, so he could have really caught me off guard there. But I guess I want to say the speed played a factor in that, but honestly I wasn't going that fast out of that turn. The turning, it feels pretty responsive in this thing, and obviously like all the cruisers got a 10% buff and the rudder shift. And as you see, that hood really missed bad behind me, but I wasn't over 30 knots, so I wasn't going faster than what will be possible for any other cruiser. So I'm not sure if this guy was just not used to the hood or whatnot, but he was really struggling to hit me here. And at this point, hood's gonna die, so there's no point in me risking more of my broadside to get all my guns firing. I'm turning around and I'm going to disengage. He smacks us there, but we have heals. And it's at this moment where I realize that, if we keep pushing, there's no point in pushing a Synop and an Akatsuki that we won't be able to spot ourselves. So I'm turning back towards our cap that we have, because I noticed that it should pop up soon here actually. I think the Fletcher on the enemy team messes up here and he enters into the cap. You see me peeking over there because I'm like, is he still over there? And I'm pretty sure he is, because if you look up to the top left there, we still have a battleship out there. So I'm pretty sure this Fletcher is still enclosed in this position. Almost got really lucky with that Akatsuki there and that blind fire. But obviously no. You see our destroyer is really, really close to B there. He could easily be capping that and pushing that Sinop out of the cap here. And I'm making my way back into the game, and I haven't started turning towards C yet. But as soon as I realize that the cap is being taken, I'm going to turn that way. And honestly, Martel feels really good. It definitely does. I played it a couple. There was a few. Honestly, I think the biggest thing that it struggles with is carrying late game. Obviously, it doesn't. I mean, it has torps. It has good damage, but if you're the one being singled out, you're still very lightly armored, and there's only so much ducking and dodging you can do. We're sitting at a pretty good 142k right now. I got the Witherer and the First Blood High Cow, and I really thought it would be sooner here, but right now we're turning away from this Sinop because I have been smacked from Sinop at this range, and it's not fun. Anytime you get hit with the shell, it could be... It's probably not going to bounce on this thing. It's probably going to pin, and it's probably going to pin your Citadel. So I noticed that C was being capped, so I'm heading back that way. And basically we're just going to try and farm damage off this Sinop as much as possible. Something that I have noticed about the Russian BBs is they have almost zero superstructure, and it can be quite difficult to get any amount of HE superstructure damage off of them, so definitely quite annoying to shoot at. And you see that our Akatsuki is taking advantage of all of our broadside battleships there. Honestly, there was nothing I can do to help them out there. I wouldn't be able to spot that Akatsuki myself because, you know, there's no way. If he was smart, he wouldn't get detected, so I'm going to defend C. I see that those torps are coming out there, so I know the Fletcher doesn't have torps. I think the reload is close to 2 minutes. You can get it down to like a minute 40, but that's kind of a wasted mod. So we're going in here, and hopefully, I'm not sure why this guy stays in this cap, because he clearly sees me coming, and you'll see very soon that it's going to be his downfall as this game is somewhat coming to a close. And going back to the beginning of the game when I hit him for about 5 or 6k, it really helped because now he's basically one shot, and unfortunately that was crap. Oh, so trolly. Martel can have some pretty trolly dispersion, not even gonna lie, but we get that kill. We don't have to worry about torps. He wouldn't have them up. And I'm still spotted, so that means that I highly doubt that the destroyer is going to be in between me and my battleship to my left. So I know that he's going to be more on the right side. So we're going to cut this turn pretty short here. And we're going to go ahead and point our guns to the other side and pretty much chase out that way. You see that we're undetected here, so that tells us that he's not directly out in front of us. Throwing out the thank yous because pretty decent game. As soon as we come across this island, we get spotted, so I know that he has to be to my right, or at least somewhat to my right. I'm still keeping my guns this way because I might have walked into it. Was really hoping for a nice torpedo beat here. I'm not too sure why the Akatsuki shot, but we can take a torp all day. And he has no defense. I think he was trying to make me turn into those torpedoes, but he shot a little bit too late. And again, we didn't get the super nice one salvo to finish off those destroyers. But honestly, a pretty fun game in the Martel. I'm definitely going to be playing it more. And I think giving it heals was a pretty good move. And I definitely think it sits in the meta a little bit better now. And that is going to be it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you